Is it possible for the Red Sox to add their bench bat by trading with the San Francisco Giants? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and right now there's a battle going on for the last bench spot in the Red Sox current roster. It's basically between CJ Cron and Bobby Dahlbeck. CJ Cron has not yet made an appearance with the Red Sox. He's scheduled to make one on March 11th and start his battle then. And Bobby Dahlbeck, through 24 plate appearances, has a 74 WRC plus and is currently striking out 37.5% of the time. Not exactly a heavyweight matchup by any means, but could there be another player in this argument? Because recently, just a couple of days ago, JD Davis, a right-handed hitter from the San Francisco Giants, was officially DFA'd by the team, meaning he could possibly be an option for the Red Sox to pick up. However, they may have to trade for him. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about why JD Davis might make sense for the Boston Red Sox, why they may have to actually trade for him instead of picking him up on a DFA, what it would cost to get him here, and ultimately whether or not this is a smart move for the Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We are less than 250 subs away at this point. So if you're new here and you want to help us get to that 10,000 mark, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. We talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Really does help these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by answering the most obvious question here, and that is, Corbin, why wouldn't the Red Sox just wait the waiver wire out, right? This guy was DFA'd. They're going to get the opportunity to pick him up and not have to give anything up for him or have to pay him really any money. And hypothetically, they absolutely could do that, right? If the Red Sox did not want to give anything up for JD Davis, all they would have to do is hope and pray that the 11 teams in front of them on the waiver wire, based on last year's standings, don't pick JD Davis up. But that's a bit of a risk, especially for a guy like JD Davis, who's been a solid producer, especially recently. It feels like this is someone that's going to get picked up pretty quickly along on the waiver wire here. So if you are going to get him, you are either taking the risk that he's getting picked in front of you, which is pretty great according to everything he's done lately, or you're going to have to trade for him. The question is, why would the Red Sox be interested here? Well, for starters, JD could be exactly what the Red Sox are looking for from the right-hand side of the plate. Over his career that spans parts of 7 seasons in the big leagues, JD has a total 261 average with a 343 on base percentage and a 432 slug, which is good for a 113 OPS plus, or like we always say, 13% above league average production. He's been a really solid producer throughout his career. His latest season at 30 years old was also pretty solid and pretty much right in line with what he's been able to do career-wise. He had a 248 average, a 325 on base percentage, and a 413 slug, which also included 23 doubles, 18 home runs, and 69 RBIs, which is actually fairly decent considering half of his games were at Oracle Park, which aren't exactly a home run hitting friendly place, especially for right-handed hitters. This was good for a 103 OPS plus, or again, about 3% above league average production. Nothing super crazy, but definitely at the bare minimum a league average bat, and that's sort of what he's been throughout his entire career, because for the most part, he has been average or above average at the plate. In fact, he only has one season in his 7 years where he had an OPS plus under 100, which was all the way back in 2018, where he only played 42 games with the Astros and had a 32 OPS plus. Well below league average production, but again, in a very small sample size, and outside of that, JD has been able to be a constant producer at the plate. He also hits righties and lefties pretty well with a 100 even OPS plus against right-handed pitchers and a 101 OPS plus against left-handed pitchers throughout his career. This gives the Red Sox a bit of versatility in where they could squeeze him into the lineup. It doesn't strictly have to be against one side. Obviously, the Red Sox could clearly use a right-handed slugger who can crush lefties, especially from the power department that they could slot into their lineup once in a while. JD Davis could possibly be that, but you could also use him in other scenarios, which makes him a bit more versatile than the other options we talked about. Basically, the reason why this could be an interesting trade target for the Sox is because he could fill that Bobby Dahlbeck, CJ Cron role really well. Honestly, probably a bit better better than both of those guys could. He is younger than CJ Cron, 31 versus 34, and he's more recently healthy as well, playing 141 games last year compared to CJ's 71 games. Now, obviously, I don't think durability is as huge of an issue, specifically for the reason the Red Sox would bring him in, right? They're not going to require him to play 144 games in 2024. They're probably looking around that 70, 80 game mark, but it is still important to take note as he has spent less time on the IL lately than CJ Cron has. He's also a more proven quantity than Bobby Dahlbeck is over his career, with greater overall success at the big league level. He strikes out a whole lot less than Bob at 27.4% compared to Bob's 35.9% strikeout rate at the major league level, and he can also play first base, third base, and a bit of left field. Now, granted, it's not exactly great fielding statistics. He's really bad at third base defensively with negative 38 defensive runs saved historically, but he is solid at first base in a smaller sample size with 0 defensive runs saved. So, like CJ Cron and like Bobby Dahlbeck a bit, in terms when we're talking about CJ, he can back up Tristan Casas at first base, get him off his feet a little bit, and in terms of Bobby, he is just about as versatile, right? A little bit less successful defensively, even by Bobby Dahlbeck standards, but he can still play all those sort of positions Bobby Dahlbeck can. So when you're looking at it compared to what the Red Sox currently have, it's an upgrade in almost every single department, which is why it makes sense for the Boston Red Sox to at least pay attention to what JD Davis could do for this team. The question is, what is it going to take to get him? And ultimately, does this make sense for the Red Sox to target a guy like JD Davis? When we're looking at the actual cost of what it would take to get JD Davis, to be totally honest with you, it's probably not a whole lot. And the reason for this is because the Giants were perfectly accepting of putting JD Davis on the waiver wire and expecting him to be playing for another team and them still having to pay his salary, right? They would be getting absolutely nothing from letting go of JD Davis. If the Red Sox were to offer them something, that's a big upgrade from getting nothing, right? So it probably won't take a whole lot to get JD Davis onto the Boston Red Sox. Baseball trade values has him at about $4.4 million in trade value. But again, if they're willing to let him go for free, I'm guessing that price point is a little bit lower than that. I threw in 2 names, Antonio Anderson and Johan Fran Garcia, a couple of really low A prospects who aren't even in the Red Sox top 25, just to throw some names on the board. But again, if you're looking at it from the Giants' point of view, if you're getting something for someone that you originally thought you were getting nothing for, it's probably a win regardless of who you are getting. So I don't think it's going to cost a lot to get him. There is a big problem here, though, when we're looking at the Red Sox trading for JD Davis, and that is the money comparison. If the Red Sox were to take the risk and wait for JD Davis to hopefully fall to them on the waiver wire, they wouldn't have to pay any salary. They would be paying league minimum, and the Giants would be picking up the rest of that. However, if they were to trade for JD Davis, they would have to pick up his salary, which would be about $6.8 million. Now, obviously, there are scenarios here where the Giants pick up some of his salary and trade him to the Red Sox for maybe half of that or something like that, but the value increases in terms of the trade if they were to do that, and the Red Sox would have to give up more than originally anticipated. And normally, this wouldn't be an issue and really anything we would even talk about, but with the Red Sox having the tight budget that they have going into 2024, yeah, this could be a problem, right? They're already at $215 million. We don't really know where their true cap is, but the assumption is it's right around where they were last year, which is $225 million. Adding in JD Davis for 6.8 puts you pretty close to that mark. It doesn't really allow you to add in any other areas. Obviously, if you were to add JD Davis, you'd be getting rid of the CJ Cron contract, and you probably wouldn't be paying Bobby Dahlbeck a major league salary, and so that probably knocks off close to $2 million, if not a little bit over $2 million of the Red Sox salary in 2024, but it's not enough, in my opinion, to make up the difference of 6.8. So that's the biggest problem right there. If the Red Sox didn't have a self-imposed budget, or their self-imposed budget was the luxury tax, then I'd say there's absolutely no reason why the Red Sox shouldn't go after a guy like JD Davis, but because of this money, I think that's going to be standing in the way. So because of the money aspect part of this, I could absolutely see the Red Sox taking the cheaper route here and just trying to see if CJ Cron or Bobby Dahlbeck wins that spot in spring training, which right now doesn't exactly seem like a tall task for CJ Cron to do. He basically just has to be in the box and be who he is as a hitter and essentially just be healthy. If they want to save money, that's definitely the route they're going to take. However, if they could put the money aspect part of this to the side, or possibly even get the Giants to give them part of his salary, which again would cost more, and I don't know if that's something the Red Sox would want to do, JD Davis could essentially be a massive upgrade in that last roster spot position, because he's again a little bit more consistent than Bobby Dahlbeck and healthier and younger than CJ Cron, which is essentially an upgrade in every single category that they're looking for. If this is genuinely on the table, this has to be something the Red Sox seriously consider, and if I'm the Red Sox, I'm pulling the trigger on this. I'm getting John Henry to open up his checkbook just a little bit further so you can add in JD Davis, get rid of CJ Cron and Bobby Dahlbeck, or at least option Bobby Dahlbeck back down to the minor leagues, get rid of CJ Cron, and allow yourself to put the best team on the field. Again, there is always a possibility that they wait this out and grab him on the waiver wire. I just personally don't see that happening, especially with the type of teams that are in front of him who could really use a right-handed power bat like JD Davis at the cost of basically a new rookie in the league. I don't know where I stand on this. I would love to see the Red Sox go out and try and trade for this guy. I just don't know if it's going to happen via the money. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of this trade opportunity? Do you think this is a sneaky trade the Red Sox could try and make? Who would you give up to get JD Davis? And do you think this is something the Red Sox actually do? Let me know all your thoughts on the Red Sox possibly trading for JD Davis in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, like I said, we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so help us get there by hitting that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys have hit that like button on this video as well. Really does help these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.